Welcome to my better late than never best games I played of 2020. Would have got this list done a lot sooner, but just wasn't feeling it. But I'm here to do it now, and I hope you all enjoy. So, as usual, these are not games that were released in 2020. These are the games that I played in 2020. Because I play a lot of older games. I mean, old, it might only be a year or two old, some of them. But, yeah, so if you're like, oh, it didn't release this year, I know. So, right away, I want to start with special mentions. Games that I really want to talk something about, but I don't think quite deserve, top honors. Right away, Sackboy Big Adventure. I think this game is a pretty decent platformer. It's my favorite Little Big Planet game, mostly because I don't really care about the creative stuff. It definitely plays better than the other Little Big Planet games. It's just missing something. I don't know what it is. It's polished, but it just could be better. Like, if it released 10 years ago, it would have been a damn fine platformer, but the genre's evolved, so it didn't quite do enough. Spellbreak. Well, here's a genre I never thought I'd get into. The Battle Royale genre. I avoided PUBG, stayed away from Fortnite, but having one of these games where you cast magic, Spellbreak got me in. And it's good. It's a fun game. The spell combos are great. Unfortunately, like a lot of these games, if you're not playing with people, you just kind of fall off. Had fun solos for a while, but you just miss playing with friends, so I kind of fell off the game and don't really care about going back to it. But if you like Battle Royales and you haven't checked out Spellbreak, I would say, do it. It's pretty good. Alright, number 10. Getting the real list. Astros Playroom. Now, up front, I love this game. I thought it was great. I love Astro. I think he's adorable. The original Astrobot Rescue Mission, my favorite game of, 2019, 2018? I don't remember when it came out. But it was my favorite game that year. The only reason why I don't rank this higher is it's not really a game, more of a tech demo. It's a hell of a tech demo. Great tech demo. Made me fall in love with that DualSense controller because it is great. But it's a little short. You can 100% this game in, I don't know, 3 hours maybe. Beat the game even faster. It's not long. It's the only reason why I don't rank it any higher. But it is free and absolutely worth playing. You get a PS5, make that thing the first thing you turn on. Get a real sense of that controller and what it can do, and you will feel the future. I'm telling you. Number 9, Going Under. Going Under is a roguelike dungeon crawler. Genre's got dozens, hundreds of them. Shouldn't have said dozens. Definitely hundreds of them. Maybe even thousands. And this one, I think, sets itself apart pretty well. Right off the bat, it isn't trying to go for a edgy art or dark. It's almost like Muppet-y? I don't know how quite to describe the graphics. They're incredibly cute. They're round. Really bright and warm colors. It's incredibly appealing to look at. But also, you're not playing like a traditional fighter. You're playing as Jackie, a girl who got an internship at a soda company, just trying to make it through her day. And the plot is pretty good, but less than the plot. The characters are great. All of the characters are great. I love all the characters, character interactions. The music, oh my god. The music's fantastic. One of my favorite soundtracks in a long time, and as long as I remember, and I'll say it here, so hopefully I do, the music in the background of this video is gonna be from that soundtrack, because it's really good. The combat is fun and interesting. Usually doing these big arcing swings for weapons or throwing them at people. And your weapons a lot of times are like a stapler or a cup of coffee. everyday things. Yeah, there's swords and stuff too, and they do tend to be better. But yeah, just a lot of fun stuff. Highly recommend this game. Number 8, Melody of Memory. Big Kingdom Hearts fan. A lot of people know that. And big rhythm game guy. A lot of people know that too. So when you combine the two, it makes for a damn fine experience, especially when that Kingdom Hearts soundtrack. They're all good. All of them. I mean, there's barely a bad track in any of those games. So there are definitely a couple, don't get me wrong. The game plays a little strangely. It plays weird. Like, if you've ever played other rhythm games that use a controller, it definitely plays different than those. But once you get the hang of it, it's fine. I actually enjoy it a lot. The difficulties are great. Sadly, I guess there's only 3, so if you're nailing the highest difficulty, there's not a whole bunch you can do, except for there is this alternate mode. Wish I could remember what it was called, but it actually adds like 6 buttons, I think, to the layout, and it's entirely a self-imposed challenge. If you've missed those notes, it doesn't count towards your combo, and it also doesn't change your score if you get them. So I guess a lot of people would not like that, because what's the point of hitting a note if it doesn't change your score? I just think it's a fun self-imposed challenge. Out front, the game is canon. Anything that's canon in Kingdom Hearts universe shouldn't surprise you when it's a new genre these days. I'll just say it takes a while for plot to be added, but it is there. There is new plot, so if you want that Kingdom Hearts plot, you gotta play Melody of Memory, and frankly, if you want a good rhythm game, why not play it? Number 7, Bug Snacks. I loved Bug Snacks. I would say, even though we're only at number 7, like 7 upwards, we could jumble any of these around on any day of the week, and I might give you a different order. Bug Snacks is from Young Horses, developers of Octodad, sort of, but more officially Octodad 2, Deadliest Catch. They know how to make really charming games. And Bug Snacks, on the surface, while it looks like a food-based Pokemon Snap, and that's not incorrect. That's definitely how I would probably pitch the game to describe it to someone quickly. But it's so much more than that. There is a plot. It's a pretty good plot, but more importantly, it has great characters. And it's a game that I would totally say, like, please do all of the side quests. Get all of the character interactions you can, because these are fantastic characters. I mean, some of the most well-rounded, well-thought-out, realistic characters. It's so interesting to see these grumpuses, these, like, silly Muppet dogs, have such, like, relatable stories. And it's really fantastic, and I can't recommend it enough. Number 6, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot to say about this game. It is the original PlayStation, Marvel, Spider-Man game, whatever they called that game. I don't actually remember. Was it called Marvel Spider-Man? Anyway, it's more of that. But you play as Miles. He has a, I would say, better skill set, because it's basically Peter's skills, but there's more things. Got these venom powers, got like invisibility and like these lightning attacks. It's really fun. If you like Spider-Man, this is just more Spider-Man. The plot is fine. Obviously, it's not as long as the original, but it's still like, this is definitely a full game, and I would highly recommend it. Ni no Kuni comes in at number 5. Real late to the Ni no Kuni train. As a long-time JRPG fan, I don't know how I had not touched this game until recently. And anyone who's played it will agree when I say, hey, it's great. It is better Pokemon, in my opinion. The art style is amazing. The monsters are great. And it's just a solid JRPG. Fun characters. The plot is a little maybe generic, but what JRPG isn't, if I'm being honest. And it's just very, very good. Fans of JRPGs, check it out if you haven't. Fans of the second game, if you've never played the first one, please go back and play it. Number 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Or is it Wisps? Probably should have fact-checked that. But you know what game I'm talking about. The sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest. It is that game, but better. The emotional beats are stronger, the level design is stronger, the abilities are cooler, and god damn is it ever pretty. It's, I mean, probably the prettiest Metroidvania out there. I haven't seen any that surpass it, at least not to me anyway. Even if people disagreed with me, they'd agree that it's pretty high up there. It feels like this genre is just peaked. It's the peak of the Metroidvania genre. And it's so interesting to have played it so closely to when I played a different game, Symphony of the Night, for the first time. It's so interesting to see like the beginning of this genre and how far it's come, and god, it's just great. Number 3, The Last of Us 2. Some of you might have thought this was going to come in higher, but I don't think anyone's surprised that I was going to mention it at all. It is fantastic. I know it's a little controversial. A lot of people think the plot is stupid. I don't, personally. I think the plot was fantastic. Ellie's journey is great. Abby is a fantastic new character, along with Lev. Lev is great too. All the characters are great. It was a great game. I loved seeing more environments. I don't know, I just loved it all. The tech in this game blew me away. From a technical aspect, incredible. That you can like blow a guy's head off, and if you like quickly swap to the photo mode, you can see like his teeth flying out. That's awesome. Or when you shoot a body and they fall into like a puddle of water, or like you'll see like the like surrounding water actually get like tainted with the blood and turn red. Like that's wild. I've never seen any game do this stuff. Even if you don't like the plot, you cannot argue that on a technical level the game is, I would probably say, a masterpiece. Number 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake. The game no one thought would ever get announced, and then once it was announced, the game no one thought would ever come out. Turns out it did, and it's here. It's been out long enough that I feel comfortable saying that this game is more than a remake. I think people know that by now. It's a new game. It's completely different. It's just sort of Final Fantasy VII flavored, Midgar flavored, because they change so much. You know, I know a lot of people just wanted a straightforward remake. I don't really care. I think you could have done that and it would have been fine, and I probably still would have played it. But the original is still playable and still fine. You want to play the original? Go play the original. But I like the world of Final Fantasy VII. I like the characters of Final Fantasy VII. To get to not just experience it again and it looks so much better, but to experience new content. Like, this is the closest I think we can get to playing a game you loved again for the first time, because you don't know what's going to happen. There's some genuine surprising moments in this game that I was like, that's not supposed to happen. Why is that happening? I think the ending of the game is super awesome, albeit maybe confusing. But a little confusion is nice as long as it sticks the landing. We'll see in the future if it does or not. But I also can't not talk about the game and not mention the soundtrack. They took an iconic soundtrack and remixed so many tracks and Hell, they might have even made them better. It's a goddamn good soundtrack. Even if you don't care about Final Fantasy VII, like, listen to that soundtrack, because it is good. Number 1, it's Ghost of Tsushima. This game it's something special. It came out at such a great time for me. Or, I don't know if great's the right word, but perfect time. I don't know if that's right either, but without getting into it, I'm sure everyone knows why 2020 was a bit odd, to say the least. And when it really started hitting, I started playing Ghost of Tsushima. And I completely lost myself into that game. As someone who has always wanted to go to Japan, and I'm sure someday I will, but to just walk, but not even Japan, just to be in a real world that I can explore and just be out in nature. Some of that had to do with being stuck at home. Some of that had to do with, like, I live in Toronto now. Like, there's no nature. I get concrete and cars. So to see, like, gorgeous flowers and dense forests and snow-peaked mountains, it was just really special to me. I don't do much of, like, photo mode in games. It's not really my thing. But I lost dozens of hours taking pictures of environments in that game. Almost never, like, trying to do a cool character pose, just taking pictures of the environment, just putting myself in there, and it was a great tool for me to just deal with what was happening in the world. Even aside from all the, like, emotional connection to the game, it plays really well. I mean, you could say it, boil it down to it's like Arkham Combat, but it's Arkham Combat done the best. I'm a big fan of timing-based gameplay, so quick dodges and parries, like, that's my jam. I love that stuff, and it does this super well. I'll probably go back to that game, and I'm not a big game replaying fella. The plot is great. I'm interested to see what happens in the future, if there's ever a sequel. The characters are great. Everything's well acted. I mean, at this point, let's face it, almost every major release has good acting, but they don't necessarily have good characters. And I think, like, Jin Sakai is great. I mean, everyone's great, but obviously he's the standout here. I would say any game below this, positions like 7 through 2. I could mix up any day, but, like, the emotional connection I got with visiting the island of Tsushima, there was no doubt in my mind that it was going to be my favorite game. I knew it after I played the game for like an hour that this was something special to me. And I was almost sad to have 100%ed it. I didn't want to go, but I had other games to play, and I unfortunately can't just keep playing the same game over and over, though sometimes I'd like to. It is one of the best, maybe the best, open world game compared to Breath of the Wild. I think you can take Ghost of Tsushima and Breath of the Wild and take a couple of things from Tsushima, a couple of things from Breath of the Wild, and you got like the perfect game, because they're both almost there. There's a couple things here and there that one does better than the other. I want more games to adopt the wind mechanic from Ghost of Tsushima. That thing is fantastic. Eliminating your HUD as much as possible so you just really get immersed. Like, I don't think people realize how much that works. When you get rid of a HUD, you're not playing a game anymore, and you're there. So to be able to just touch a button and the wind guide me to where I want to go, like, that is awesome. And I hope to see more games adopted. Well, that's it. Them's the games I played last year. I think it's a pretty solid list. Even though I didn't get to everything that came out last year, missed a lot of them, if I'm being honest. I think 2020 was like a goddamn good year. I mean, top 3 maybe. Some of the, like, one of the best years in gaming, specifically gaming, ever. I mean, I know 98 is sort of the year to beat, but a lot of 98 is like looking at hindsight, because a lot of great franchises started in 98, but in 98 it's not like we knew that these things were going to be around forever. We didn't know Pokemon's going to be around forever. We didn't know Resident Evil would still be going strong. But so 2020 could end up, a couple years down the road, we look back and go like, God damn, we got a lot. I mean, Animal Crossing and Doom, Last of Us, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, obviously, Hades, a game I didn't even talk about. There's some really good stuff, and I think, it was a good year for games. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed. If you got a lot of time on your hands, I would just sit and play every single game I mentioned today. And let me know how you think. How you feel, not how you think. I guess both. I don't know. That's the end of the video.